Welcome to Beyond the Links, the podcast where golf meets business. In each episode, we chat with partners about what fuels their passion, why they team up with the Mitsubishi Electric Classic presented by Vensure, and how they're reshaping the game on and off the course. Join us for insider stories, behind-the-scenes insights, and plenty of laughs as we explore the partnerships that keep golf thriving. Please welcome our host, Trinity 100 Mark, with special co-host Stan Hall.
Thank you for joining us on Beyond the Links. I'm Trinity, and I'm excited to kick off today's show. I'd like to introduce my co-host for today's show, Stan, who's going to help me welcome our guest speaker, Mike Corbo.
Thank you, Trinity. I'm so happy to be here on episode 4 of Beyond the Links. Today, we will be chatting with Mike Corbo, who is the president and CEO of Mitsubishi Electric US, Inc. Mike, first of all, welcome to the show, and thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Stan. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Trinity.
Mike, tell us a little bit about your background and sort of share your journey as to where you are today with the company.
Okay, this is my 38th year with Mitsubishi Electric.
Wow.
And had a few stops before that. Grew up in a little town, suburb of Toledo, Ohio, Maumee, Ohio. And ultimately, I went to Ohio University. My first employer transferred me west to Los Angeles. Short stint there, I moved to San Francisco. And 4 years in the Bay Area, I got a call from Mitsubishi Electric. And they were they asked me if I had a level of interest, maybe going to work for them. They had seen my name on a couple of lists from different consultants. I was in the elevator and escalator business at that time. They had no presence in the United States at that time for the elevator and escalator business. So I had to ask around about Mitsubishi Electric. And I asked some international consultants, what do you know? And they said, the quality is just remarkable. I mean, you ride a Mitsubishi Electric elevator, you just don't know you're moving. And so it piqued my interest. I looked a little bit about the culture. I wanted to learn a little bit about the culture, so I did that. But it was an interesting time. That was 1986. And bumper stickers were buy American before it's too late. Because there was a lot of investment coming into the United States. It was coming from Japan, and there were factories being put here, but also there was jobs and whatnot. A lot of the employers, larger companies, were being threatened, So I'd called my father, and I said, hey, I have this opportunity to go to work for Mitsubishi Electric, but there's a lot of news in the paper about Japanese coming into the market and disrupting the market and things like that. And his advice was, hey, he said, it's a global economy, and this Buy American feeling or sentiment, it's going to move. And he said, if you believe in the company, and you believe in the quality of the company and the products, he said, you're young, you should go. I wasn't married at the time, didn't have kids at the time. So with that, I thought, let's go, let's try it. So that was 1986, and started as an elevator and escalator sales rep in the San Francisco office. And 38 years later, here I am.
There you go.
So it's been a good.
And you talked a little bit about the culture and some things. What do you think that has kept you there for the past 38 years?
Yeah. I go to Japan a lot. I travel 6 to 8 times a year recently, and before that was maybe twice a year. But I got to know the people and the culture. And so I always like to talk about Japan this way. I said, they're polite. It's the cleanest country you'll ever see.
It is.
The food is remarkable. On-time culture, and that's kind of respect, right? Safety. You can jog in Tokyo at 3 a.m. and you're safe. And then the level of service. And I always talked about, I said, hey, to leadership when I was in sales, I said, you want to get 100% market share? Bring every customer to Japan and let them experience the culture. Yeah. So that is one thing that has been a very big part of my commitment to Mitsubishi Electric. And we talk about, loyalty and things like that. I'm not a big fan of loyalty. I think the companies have an obligation to provide opportunities for their employees. I think employees should be loyal to their family and do what's right for them every step of the way. But at Mitsubishi Electric, they provided me with opportunities to allow me to make a decision to stay. But also, I've made many mistakes in my career. Mistakes when I've gone home and told my wife, "Well, if they don't fire me now, this is their chance." And so loyalty in that case, the patience from the Japanese, and so I just respect the culture. And then you come here in my role dealing with the staff that I have to deal with across the Americas region. It's the people in the organization. You got to have the technology, you got to have the quality, but it's the people who deliver it. Yeah. And it's the people who create that quality and everything else. So at the end of the day, why am I here? It gets right back to the people.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
So, Mike, thinking about evolution in your role, and you have had quite the evolution in the title you have now. Talk about that, the journey you took, and really what excites you most about your work today.
So, obviously, starting as a sales rep, that was a long time responsibility, and I got into sales because I love to compete, and you can learn a lot from losing and how to do better, right? And you find that you win some of the time, but you lose a lot. And so how you can learn and grow from that. So I was very much, sales rep, leading the way and doing my best in that position. I never had bold aspirations. I just wanted to provide eventually for the family that, I got married 4 years after I was at Mitsubishi Electric there, have 3 children, and my goal was to provide for that family. So we just kind of started the journey. I can still remember when I called my wife and I said, hey, they offered me to move to Southern California. And she had roots, she liked the Bay Area where we lived. And she was also 6 months pregnant with our first and said, hey, I'll go, but you better get me there weeks before that baby is born. Because if not, you're gonna have minimum 6 months. I'm just not moving after a birth. And we made it 2 weeks before. And New Year's Day, our first was born. But so that's elevator career was a long part of my career. The stepping into the corporate became when I was promoted to Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President. That's probably around 2017, I think. And I moved over to the corporate side. Became the CEO and President, I want to say, about 4 years ago. And then 2 years ago, I was made an Executive Officer, so a member of the board of Mitsubishi Electric Corporation.
Wow, that's impressive.
And so it's been an interesting journey. But along the way, I felt very blessed in the opportunities that came my way, but more so by the people who surrounded me. Anything that I've accomplished has been done through the work of others, and so I feel grateful for that.
That's amazing. You talked about your love for competition, and so I want to kind of shift into Mitsubishi Electric's role with the tournament. Y'all have been the title sponsor now for over a decade. Why is this partnership so important to the company?
So golf is unique in the opportunity to get inside the ropes with the legends of the game and whatnot. And as we made this decision, we stepped back and we looked at the opportunity right here in Gwinnett County. Just up the road on Satellite Boulevard is our HVAC headquarters, Mitsubishi Electric Train US HVAC, where we supply heat pump technology and for air conditioning. So golf provides you that unique time, not only with the tour champions themselves, but with our customers. That's the biggest thing you can have. And I always talk about the value of time. So customers that are willing to give you time, you never want to waste it. But when you can have a round of golf with either a top customer or someone you want to become a top customer, it's a unique opportunity. And then throughout the week, we have different activities going on. At Mitsubishi Electric, we have a broad range of technologies. And so many of those are related that the customers that our elevator and escalator division might bring, owner, developer, contractor, and architect, often influence our other areas of business, whether it's on the power side, could be on the automotive side, or on the factory automation side. So a lot of things we do is about bringing together our family of companies and promoting the technologies that we have to those customers that are willing to give of their time to be here. Now, it helps when they can have the likes of Hall of Famers to play with for 18 holes, but it really is a unique experience. And the PGA's commitment themselves as a partnership has been very good for us. And here, again, it's about the community and how we can give back to the community. I learned early on the importance that in Mitsubishi Electric in Japan, they've got 22 factories. And the factories are located in small rural towns, usually. And they always open up the factory for a day to all of the neighborhood people to come in, to understand the factory, and they have discounted goods and foods and things, deeply discounted. And they really make it a day for friends and family to come and to give back to the community. this is one way to give back to Gwinnett County, who provides so much for us, Mitsubishi Electric. So it's part about being a good partner in the community.
I love that, and we're so glad to have you.
I was just thinking about your answer there. This is a good time for me to thank you personally. As someone who's been involved with the tournament since day one, as has Mitsubishi, it's been such an integral part of the success we've had. So thank you so much from our entire organization for what you've done.
Of course.
So, Mike, how does Mitsubishi Electric's commitment to, you talked a lot about innovation, but also sustainability, align with the tournament's mission?
You walk down the pathway into the tournament, anyone who visits this year and walks down to the 18th green, you're going to see the initiatives and some of the good work that's mentioned that the PGA does, and the commitment to the circular economy and not just recycling, but beyond that. They're very thoughtful in how they approach sustainability at their events and how they deal with waste, and that it aligns with Mitsubishi Electric. By 2030, all of our factories and all of our offices around the world are to be net zero. By 2050, our entire supply chain is to be net zero. If you look at our portfolio of products, they all deliver sustainable qualities. The heat pumps that we sell with our HVAC, it's all electric. It eliminates the need for fossil fuel technology. So that helps to decarbonize the planet. Our factory automation does inverter drive technology. So if you got a fan, you can put it on 1-speed, 2-speed, 3-speed fan. That's our inverter technology is in there. You go to Starbucks, most Starbucks are going to have the thing that makes your sandwich hot. It's got our inverter technology in it. And it's all about energy efficiency of that. So our products and our mission is not just internally are we committed to sustainability, but to all of our stakeholders, and it's reflected through our technology. So as we look at, if you look at the technology we offer today, you're always going to see sustainable elements to it. An example of elevators and escalators, you think, well, what's sustainable about elevators and escalators? If you look at the life of a product, the industry today has gone to very lightweight technology, and I've referred to them, and they probably won't like it, but disposable elevators. After 10 or 12 years, their useful life is done, and people are having to replace a machine, and it just goes back into waste. Our technology will last 30, 40 years.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of times you look at our technologies, and we're not the cheapest, but if the quality is what you're committed to, and you start to look at total operating cost over the life of the product, we are going to deliver that best alternative. Yeah. So the sophisticated buyer who looks deep into the technologies often ends up with Mitsubishi in their supply chain.
Well, I'll be checking my elevator when I get on now to make sure it's got a Mitsubishi tag on it. I want to kind of get a little personal with you if I can for a second. So Stan and I on some prior episodes have kind of talked about our favorite memories from the tournaments, and my favorite memories always come in with my family. And I think I told a story about it being Easter one year, and there was a petting zoo, and I'll never forget my kids with the Easter bunny and all that out there. So, but what are some of your favorite memories, or do you have one of your experience at a past tournament?
2 years ago, I played in the Pro-Am with Stephen Ames, and at that time, he had a kind of an emergency situation where he didn't have a caddy, and he called his son, and his son is an aspiring golfer. And for the first time, his son was on his bag, and that week set up, and I played with Stephen in the Pro-Am that week, and we were talking about it, and as we saw him start to play throughout the week, you could tell he was playing really well. He had won once before, and on this week, it ended up that he was able to win the tournament. But I just thought how special that would be, to be, one, your dad, who's, as the father, to have that joy of winning the tournament with your son on the back, first time he caddies for him, to win the tournament. But also knowing from the son's perspective that wants to be a professional golfer, very good golfer in his own right, to be able to watch him make decisions all around the course that he made and learn from that, and to see what it is to win a tournament over 3 days. So that was one. Last year, same golfer, walking down 18 on his birthday, hearing everyone sing happy birthday to him, and he was running away with the tournament at that time. I think it was 5 strokes up, perhaps. And he, of course, fittingly dropped a 50-foot putt on 18, and so he's the only 3-time winner here.
Yeah.
And those two memories stick with me. But there's so many. The first time I played in a Pro-Am was with Ben Crenshaw, and opportunities like that are very personal. From a business perspective, it's about the customers you get to know deeper, more personally, and they become friends. Yes. It's much more than business. These relationships get deep through this opportunity at this tournament. So I've made lifelong friends in addition to just good business partners.
You mentioned earlier talking about the commitment to the tournament, and again, thank you for that. Mitsubishi recently extended its sponsorship of the tournament for another 5 years. I can't tell you the celebration we had on our end. I don't know about your side, but we celebrated wildly, I'll tell you that. But what led to that decision, and what does it mean for the tournament to have that extension and that stability between the tournament and our title sponsor with Mitsubishi?
Yeah. It was an interesting decision at that time. Mm-hmm. The last 5-year contract, we went through COVID. Everyone knows how that was. And it was disruptive and really damaging to business and people. So as we entered this year, you look back and you think, did you get enough value? And a lot of questions. We're the only sponsor of 2 tournaments on this tour. So a lot of questions to me of, do we need 2? And, isn't 1 enough? Or how can we cut costs or whatnot? But in the end, it's a business decision. Mm-hmm. And you look at all the reasons that we did it from the beginning.
Right.
It was about here in Atlanta, the commitment to the community in Gwinnett County here. And that never changed, that never wavered. And it was the tournament has grown over the years. Yeah, and now we have a great presenting sponsor in Vensure. Yep. And they're very well respected, not only in Atlanta, but across the United States for their HR platform and what they deliver. So they continue to add value. You bring Stuart Sink, now the face of the tournament, and what Sink Charities has done here locally for the community, and again, impacting lives of others. All of those issues factored in. And finally, we look at it from the business relationship. Are we growing the business? So is there a return on investment? For us, the answer was yes, and we checked both boxes. So ultimately, Aruma-san, our CEO and president of global operation, said, all right, we're going to do it. Yeah. And so I was excited as you, Stan.
Oh, good.
Well,
good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Well, we are so excited. When you look at the future of the Mitsubishi Electric presented by Vensure with this new agreement, what are you most excited about?
We continue to make the tournament and us together incremental improvements to make the experience for the visitors and all the guests that come through the doors. And so we're always challenging ourselves, how can we do better? How can we do better? And we do that with Ashley and her team here on property, and we do it with the tour champions themselves. A lot of the value is their involvement with our customers. And of all the sports, how do you get so close to the players like you do? Golf offers that unique opportunity.
Nothing
so I think,
like it.
There's nothing. You can't. You're not going to get. You're not going 1-on-1 with the greats of the NBA, and I'm not putting the pads on to run up against the linemen in the NFL. So to be able to walk alongside the true legends of the game is magical. And how to elevate the tournament every year, always looking at different things. And when this started, sustainability was a phrase, but it was not, the awareness and the importance of that was not like it is today. So you look at all of it, and we're just always trying to elevate the experience. So I'm excited to make it better every year.
So are we, Mike. Mike, we're out of time, but first of all, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
It has truly been a pleasure talking with you today, and we can't thank you enough for what you do to support the tournament, and we are looking forward to the tournament this weekend. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. For tickets for this weekend's event, go to www.MitsubishiElectricClassic.com and continue to listen to Beyond the Links, streaming on all podcast platforms. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you, Stan.
Can't wait for the weekend, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Trinity.
So nice.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed the show. For further information on the Mitsubishi Electric Classic presented by Vensure, visit MitsubishiElectricClassic.com.